Jai Kanshiram, Jai Periyar. At present, the whole world is mourning amidst the greatest health crisis mankind has ever witnessed. Amidst all the challenges we are confronting in our lives today, this international online socio-political summit is hosted, and I look at this arrangement as a very big accomplishment of this time. The mere fact that this event is actually happened to show we are all alive in the spirit of Bahujana philosophy and its activism. I congratulate BBCI Media, the organizer of this historic event, and Bahujana Dravida Cultural Sangha, the co-organizer of this important event. At a time when the entire Bahujana community is in a serious state of fear, the BBCI Media has come up with an out-of-box thinking with regard to the socio-political situation of the Bahujana and its crisis. For this, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to BBCI and Bahujana Dravida Cultural Sangha and welcome this International Online Socio-Political Summit 2020. There is a huge interconnection between the title of this conference and the political of the Bahujana Dravida community. If Kanshiramism and Periyarism not revived, they would no growth and protection of the SC, ST, OBCs and religious minority community of this country. It is a good thing to be able to point and reflect over the key points of this summit will bring before you. But don't stop there as if your role is over. In fact, is then that your role actually begins. Each of you should start thinking about ways and means to put this thought into action. My dear Bahujana, that is the biggest challenge we are facing. A tough question has always been bothering our Bahujana Dravida masses. They have been unable to decide the right answer of these all-time tough questions. The question is social action or political action. Which one is the correct course of action? A set of people argue that social activism is more important than the political activism, while another set of people says political activism is more important than a social activism. Now, I do not know which side you argue with. Please understand, which activism you think is more important does not matter as long as you are not doing anything other than debating. The question, which activism is more important, would matter only if you are justifying your standpoint with your acts. Facing and surveying a problem is different from fighting and finishing up problems. Once again, I want to repeat this one to you because you have to remind it. Facing and surveying problem is different from fighting and finishing up problems. Social organization is important to address a problem as and when they keep popping up. But if you want your problems to end, then the problems prone resort to political movement. The question is, do you want to fight so you can keep living through problems, or you want to fight so you can put a full stop to problems? Obviously, every one of us wants to end the age-old problems they are still following us like a devils, and for what we must fight with both our feet on our political ground. The majority of our Ambedkarists are carelessly and maliciously trained in social organization in the name of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, and now they are completely absorbed on it. When they are not only justifying their activism, but they are forcefully imposing their beliefs on others too, without any awareness that it is destructive to the real spirit of Ambedkar mission. They continue to do this. This is because they do not properly learn a history beginning from Lord Macaulay to Manavar Kanshiram. This is why Manavar Kanshiram ji divides Ambedkar into 4 categories. If you honestly introspect, you will recognize which among us these 4 types you are. Let us know who these 4 types of Ambedkarists are. Bastard Ambedkarist, Harijan Ambedkarist, half-hearted Ambedkarist, and gullible Ambedkarist. The first type of Ambedkarists are the one who were present in the meeting held by Baba Saheb Ambedkar himself, but are now acting as stooges of Manuvadis party like Congress, BJP. Manavar Kanshiram described these people as a bastard Ambedkarist. The second type of Ambedkarists are those people who are slumbering and slogging hard to get their name in the good books of Manuvadi parties like Congress and BJP and its Manuvadis leaders. Manavar Kanshiram used the name Harijan Ambedkarist. The third type of Ambedkarists are half-hearted Ambedkarists. This type of people know the great deal about Baba Saheb Ambedkar and they have the desire to do something for the community to which they belong. But they simply cannot trust anyone other than themselves. Why these people cannot lead the community towards a big political change is not too difficult to understand. Manavar Kanshiram believed that this type of people could potentially bring a socio-economic transformation in the community. Manavar Kanshiram ji achieved expected success from this group of Ambedkarists in the area of socio-economic transformation. The fourth type of Ambedkarists are referred to as a gullible Ambedkarist. Unfortunate, the group to which the masses belong. They follow the path of anyone who comes along and takes them. The lieutenant of Ambedkar failed in taking their mission ahead because of the difficulty involved in revealing on these people. During Manavar Kanshiram ji's lifetime, the first 2 types of Ambedkarists had not joined a mainstream politics because Ambedkars are lying now. Nobody knew who these people were and where these people were. But after the death of Manavar Kanshiram ji, these 2 types of Ambedkars have started growing rapidly. If these Ambedkarists are allowed to grow, they will become a big hurdle to growth of the Bahujun Dravida masses. Lakhs of Ambedkarists from the third categories who were trained by Manavar Kanshiram ji are still living today. These people are frustrated and depressed by the raising of Brahmins' domination in the Kanshiram movement. That's why they are quiet and are not doing any work. The silence of these people has caused 2 huge damages. One, a Manuvad and a Manuvadi stooges are using this silent space as their opportunity ground and are pushing their personal agenda freely inside a community without any fear. Second one is feeling of inferiority within the Bahujun community, Dravida community, has begun to raise, and they are becoming a further weak and gullible. Actually, I want to remind this one, because that the second one is the feeling of inferiority within the Bahujun Dravidan community has begun to rise, and they are becoming further weak and gullible. The cadre who were created by Manivar Kanshiram must come to mainstream Bahujun politics to lead the Bahujun Dravida community. Only if these people step into the political ground, we can finish the toxic work of the first two types of Ambedkarists. Through this summit, I request the Lieutenant of Manivar Kanshiram to come openly to work for the Bahujun Dravida Samaj. Then only we can revive the movement of Kanshiramji. Why I am calling you is because Kanshiramists are more shrewd than Ambedkarists. You have to keep in mind that. Why I am calling you? Because Kanshiramists are more shrewd than Ambedkarists. The reason for their shrewdness is the political knowledge they have. Only those who are interested in politics can care about the Bahujun masses and protect the Bahujun masses. The politically intelligent people can make a sense of what is going on around them. Consequently, they can raise awareness among a people whenever there is an impending danger. The politic of Manuvad is the age-old divide and rule politics where people are made to split into many groups. But Bahujun politics is the politics of welding and uniting the spirit of people into one family. Political action can be used to break a community and also weld the broken community. The question here is, which politics do you stand for? The politics of breaking people or the politics of welding the broken people? Unlike other countries, in India we cannot emancipate the Bahujun Dravida masses with imported political philosophies. There is a huge difference between the slave history of other countries and the history of untouchable in this country. The slaves in other countries are not led by a philosophy of Brahminism. You have to understand that. The slaves in other countries are not led by the philosophy of Brahminism, and that is why the slaves are quickly becoming self-sufficient in the terms of educational, economic and politics. But in case of India, the dominance of Brahminism and the leading of the Bahujun Dravida Samaj by Brahminism has been going on for the last 2000 years. That's why the Bahujun Dravida are educationally, economically, politically in deprived position forever. To put an end to this anti-people political philosophy, Manivar Kanshiram has begun the socio-political philosophy of Bahujun to help them liberate from the age-old slavery. In many countries, social and economic change have taken place with the support of selfless and honest individuals. But if it had not been for Manivar Kanshiram's work, Ambedkarism would never have reached the common people of India as it has today. A people who enjoy the benefit of the reservation that Babasaheb Ambedkar fought and gave them were ashamed to reveal their identity. After the political upheaval of Manivar Kanshiram, they openly forward to expose their identity. The intellectuals, the writers and poets started to approach a people and began a collecting instead of collecting books. Thus, a massive change happened in the Bahujana Dravida Samaj. During the period of Manevar Kanshiram, Bahujana Dravida Samaj was riding itself of the dark age heading towards the bright age. But now, Kanshiramism is moving towards darkness. And the consequent effort of this is Bahujan Samaj is always getting immersed into darkness. The Bahujan Dravida Party leaders and cadres are working across the country to put an end of this darkness. Dear Bahujan Dravida Samaj, what I ask from you is, you know Guru Govind Singh. Guru Govind Singh introduced Panch Pyar to defend the philosophy of Sikhism. Similarly, we need to create a dedicated and sacrificing cadres to protect Kanshiramism. This is a great need for political awareness among the Bahujan Dravida masses in all parts of country. More than 1,000 full-time Bahujan Dravidan missionaries are needed to carry out the much needed awareness program, just like a awakening squad. Therefore, I invite the cadres who received a political training from Manevar Kanshiram ji to come and act as a leader in your area in order to create a leader among the younger generation to protect Kanshiramism. I am inviting those who got a training from Manevar Kanshiram ji. You have to come to the society to create a leader among the younger generation to protect Kanshiramism. If you want to end the game of the stooges, the Kanshiramists have to start their political activism intensively, because they are the only people who have the required guts to destroy the stooges and Manuvadi politics. So I appeal to the Kanshiramists to come to the street to defend the Bahujan Dravida masses. If you want to create the casteless society, Bahujan Dravida community should come to power. If the Bahujan Dravida community want to capture power, you and I have the responsibility to reviving the Manevar Kanshiramji's movement and Periyar's movement. Only then we can capture the power in India. I invite you to step into the battlefield of democracy to accomplish the goal of Kanshiram. So you take my word as wake-up call to alert yourself. That is the only solution we have before us to bring back the golden period of Ashoka the Great in India. In this, I conclude my speech. Jai Bhim, Jai Bharat, Jai Kanshiram, Jai Periyar.
बहुजन द्राविड़ कांशीरामवादी साथियों, भाइयों और बहनों, 1.5 महीने पहले आप सब ने बुंगा साहिब पंजाब, भारत के अन्य हिस्सों और विदेशों में भी मान्यवर कांशीराम साहब का जन्मदिन मनाया है। आज हम उनके किए गए कार्यों, उनका मिशन, उनका उद्देश्य, उनकी भावनाओं, उनके सपनों के साथ साथ जो अधूरे काम हैं, अनफिनिश्ड वर्क है, उनको कंप्लीट करने की पूरी रणनीति बनाएंगे। 1934 में जन्मे कांशीराम साहब ने स्थानीय स्कूल कॉलेज में शिक्षा प्राप्त की और बाबा साहब की कर्मभूमि पूना में नौकरी शुरू की, एक्सप्लोसिव लेबोरेटरी में। साधारणतया आरक्षण द्वारा जो नौकरी प्राप्त होती है उसे प्रिविलेज माना जाता है और संवैधानिक उदारता माना जाता है। लेकिन मान्यवर कांशीराम साहब को सरकारी नौकरी में भी भेदभाव का आभास हुआ और उन्होंने सरकारी नौकरी वालों के कार्य क्षेत्र को ही अपना मुख्य अंश बनाया। उनके एक साथी थे दीना भानाजी। उन्होंने दफ्तर में जो छुट्टियां होती हैं, जो उस वर्ष बाबा साहब का जन्मदिन और को बदल दिया गया था, उसके विरोध दर्ज कराने पर उन्हें नौकरी से सस्पेंड कर दिया गया। मान्यवर साहब ने और उनके साथियों ने कानूनी लड़ाई लड़ी और दीना भानाजी को बहाल कराया और जो छुट्टियां थी बाबा साहब के जन्मदिन उसको लागू करवाया, बहाल करवाया। उन्होंने खुद ये समझा और लोगों को भी समझाया कि सरकारी नौकरशाही के जरिए बहुजन द्राविड़ की संस्कृति विरासत को खत्म करने का षड्यंत्र हो रहा है और ब्रह्मावादी विरासत को बढ़ाने का षड्यंत्र हो रहा है। सन 1964 में मान्यवर साहब ने नौकरी से त्याग पत्र दिया, कुछ कस्में खाई, जो मरते दम तक निभाई। उनमें शादी ना करना, घर ना लौटना, समाज के लिए काम करना मुख्य है। नौकरी छोड़कर साहब कांशीराम ने लगभग 8 साल बाबा साहब की बनाई हुई रिपब्लिकन पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया में काम किया, लेकिन उन्हें जल्द ही पता चल गया कि आरपीआई कांग्रेस का एक शैडो संगठन है जो कांग्रेस को ही मजबूत कर रहा है और आरपीआई में रहकर समाज भिखारी बना हुआ है और भीख से मिली कुछ लोकसभा और विधानसभा की सीटों से ही संतुष्टि प्राप्त कर देता है। मान्यवर कांशीराम साहब का उद्देश्य बहुजन द्राविड़ समाज को भारत पर राज करने का उत्तराधिकारी बनाना था। इसलिए हमें भी वीकेस्ट को यूनाइट करके उनके संघर्ष को आगे बढ़ाना है। 1978 में बाबा साहब ने, मान्यवर कांशीराम साहब ने बाम सिर्फ बनाई और अपने समाज को आर्थिक स्वावलंबन की तरफ बढ़ाया। 1981 में DS4 बनाई, सामाजिक मिशन चलाया और 1984 में BSP बनाई, राजनीतिक मिशन पर काम किया। तीनों संगठनों के माध्यम से उन्होंने भारतीयों को संख्या बल का महत्व बताया और उनका मनोबल बढ़ाया। एक ब्लडलेस रेवोल्यूशन जो पूना पैक्ट द्वारा हुई थी, उसे ब्लडलेस रेवोल्यूशन के द्वारा बदल दिया। हो शकत नहीं को हो शकत में बदल दिया। 6 दिसंबर 1978 को बामसेफ का गठन और ठीक उसके 15 दिन बाद 20 सितंबर 1978 में मंडल कमीशन के गठन में मुझे एक लिंक नजर आता है। बहुजन समाज पार्टी गठन के बाद ठंडे बस्ते में पड़ी 1955 की कालेलकर कमीशन रिपोर्ट और 1980 मंडल कमीशन रिपोर्ट पर उन्होंने काम शुरू किया। पूरे देश में लगभग 5000 नुक्कड़ मीटिंग की और उसे राष्ट्रीय मुद्दा बना दिया और राजनीतिक रणनीति के तहत सरकार को मजबूर किया और मंडल कमीशन लागू कराया। और एक और बात कि उन्होंने जीते जी केंद्रीय और कुछ राज्य सरकारों को मजबूर ही बनाए रखा। मान्यवर कांशीराम साहब ने बहुजन समाज पार्टी बनाकर अलग थलग पड़े शोषितों को राजनीति के सेंटर स्टेज पर ला खड़ा किया। उन्होंने शोषित समाज की निष्क्रिय रही राजनीति चेतना को जागृत किया। अछूतों, पिछड़ों, अल्पसंख्यकों को सत्ता की कुंजी का महत्व समझाया। कांशीराम साहब थे जिन्होंने राजनीति को धरातल पर उतारा और तब उन्होंने कहा था, बाबा साहब किताबें इकट्ठे करते थे लेकिन मैं लोगों को इकट्ठा करता हूं। मान्यवर कांशीराम साहब का मानना था कि अपने हक के लिए लड़ना होगा और गिड़गिड़ाने से बात नहीं बनेगी और बहुजन द्राविड़ राज ही भारत भूमि और भारतवासियों की आवश्यकता है। कांशीराम साहब ने 85% गैर ब्राह्मणों को ब्राह्मणों के समकक्ष राजनीतिक, सामाजिक और आर्थिक क्षेत्रों में बराबरी पर लाना चाहा। मंडल कमीशन लागू होने पर पिछड़े वर्ग को और कुछ माइनॉरिटी के वर्ग हैं उनको नौकरी में आरक्षण, शिक्षा में छूट, आर्थिक मदद वगैरह मिली। मंडल कमीशन ने कुछ अन्य रिकमेंडेशंस भी अपनी रिपोर्ट में करी थी जिन्हें मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा। वो ये है कि मछुआरों, बंजारों, बांसफोर, खटवासी समुदाय को अस्पृश्यता के आधार पर अलग से आरक्षण मिले, पिछड़ा वर्ग विकास निगम बने, केंद्र और राज्य सरकारों में पिछड़ा वर्ग मंत्रालय बने और अति पिछड़ी जातियां जो हैं, जैसे हिमालय में एक गद्दी जाति है, महाराष्ट्र के नवगोत, तटीय मछुआरे और कश्मीर के गुज्जरों को अधिकता वाले क्षेत्र को परिसीमन के तहत अलग तराशा जाए और उन्हें इन वर्गों के लिए आरक्षित किया जाए। बहुजन द्राविड़ सांस्कृतिक संघ पूरे देश में दलितों, आदिवासियों, पिछड़ों, धार्मिक अल्पसंख्यकों को एक सूत्र में पिरोकर मान्यवर कांशीराम साहब के सपना वोट हमारा राज तुम्हारा नहीं चलेगा तहत वोट हमारा राज हमारा स्थापित करेगा। भारत पर बहुजन द्राविड़ राज को पूरा करने के लिए भरसक प्रयास करेगा। मंडल कमीशन की अन्य जो सिफारिशें हैं और जो रिकमेंडेशन है उन्हें लागू करवाएगा। पिछले कुछ दिनों में यमुनानगर हरियाणा में रमन वाल्मीकि को जेल में जहर देके उनकी हत्या पर शोक व्यक्त करता है और दोषी व्यक्तियों, दोषी पक्ष हत्या में लिप्त पुलिस प्रशासन के खिलाफ कार्रवाई की मांग करता है। वर्तमान 21वीं सदी में हमें ब्राह्मणों के धर्मस्थलों, मंदिरों में घुसने और तालाबी पानी पीने के प्रयासों और कहानियों से आगे बढ़कर बहुजन समाज के जुडिशरी, न्यायालय, पुलिस और सीबीआई, कानून का पालन करवाने वाली और एनफोर्समेंट एजेंसीज के भ्रष्टाचार और भेदभाव पर और आरक्षित नौकरियों के बैकलॉग करने के भ्रष्टाचार और भेदभाव पर आप सबका, लोगों का ध्यानाकर्षण करना होगा और ध्यानाकर्षण दिलाकर भारतवासियों को न्याय दिलाना होगा। आप सबसे इस विषय में सहयोग जरूरी है। पूरी दुनिया में कोरोना महामारी से बचाव के लिए सोशल डिस्टेंस बढ़ाएं और इमोशनल नजदीकी बढ़ाएं। स्वस्थ रहे। जय कांशीराम, जय परियार, जय बहुजन द्राविड़ कल्चरल संघ, जय भारत।
Hello, my friends. Good morning. Jai Bhim. I am Ambassador Ramesh Chandar, a retired career diplomat of India, now settled in Jalandhar, my hometown in Punjab. Just recently, Mr. Jeevan Malla of Bahujan Dravid Party came into my contact with regard to the proposal on International Day of Equality, which I humbly made to the Government of India in 2015. I'll talk about this subject later. Mr. Malla told me that it will be good if I can join you at this seminar the theme of which is revival and sustenance of Babu Kanshiram, Manavar Kanshiram's and Ramaswamy Naikar Periyar's legacy in empowerment of weaker sections of the society. What is their political relevance? What is their legacy, etc., etc. I said yes, of course I can, I will join, but not as a politician because I am not in politics. I am a humble, faceless diplomat, but an observer of the society, particularly the matters of interest concerned to the weaker sections of the society. In that capacity, I decided to join you at this meeting. First of all, let me congratulate Jeevan Malla and his associates for this wonderful work, for this seminar. I think which will be a great success in generating much needed awareness among the weaker sections of the society, the so-called Dalits of India and the world at large. I also congratulate the participants in this seminar, and I just noticed that one of my colleagues from the states, Rajveer, is also joining this seminar. I am happy. I will be rather happy to interact with him. Thank you very much. And now coming to the subject, as I said that I am not an expert, neither I am an intellectual. I am one among you as an observer. And whatever observations I will make in this seminar about the scenario, about the situation, particularly with regard to the revival and sustenance of the legacies of Babu Kanshiramji and Ramaswamy Naikar Pariyar, I'll try to do that. You all know that the pan-India proposition to bring the Dalits together has been a big question before our leadership, starting right from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Ramaswamy Naikar. They tried their best. And as far as I know, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Ramaswamy Naikar, they were in close contact with regard to these developments, political developments, with regard to the Dalit communities, with regard to the depressed classes, with regard to the Dravids, with regard to the Dalits, whatever nomenclature we use. They met, I understand, in 1940. Later they met in 1944. Dr. Ambedkar even visited Chennai, and there were many meetings between the two great leaders of the depressed people of India. They worked together, they achieved certain things together, but there were some differences of approach towards certain things. That's not a big question. That will remain. Similarly, Babu Kanshiram took over the reins with great difficulty, with great struggle, with great endeavor. He could bring up BSP, Bahujan Samaj Party. In that capacity, Babu Kanshiram realized that no party in India, political party in India, could be a success unless they involve all like-minded people. He was very much conscious about the need to have a lot of cooperation and coordination between the northern states and the southern states where the Dalits live, either Dravidians or Dalits, so-called Dalits in North India. Babu Kanshiram was quite oblivious of that, quite knowledgeable about that. He was not oblivious about this fact that they cannot succeed unless they come together and join hands. He tried his best. He propped up, I understand, H.G. Dhavegowda, who later became the Prime Minister of India. He again tried to bring some leaders from the south to join the mainstream of the Bahujan Samaj movement headed by him. And I know in the late in the 80s, he tried to organize a Periyar Mela in Lucknow, and where he made very important announcements with regard to the BSP, Samajwadi Party, BJP and others. But at the same time resisted the fact that they will be working together with the southern parties, the Dravidian parties. That much I know, that Babu Kanshiram was fully aware of this need. And I'm happy that now our friends Jeevan Malla and others, they have revived that legacy of Babu Kanshiram and Ramaswamy Naikar to bring together on pan-India level the Dalit Samaj of India, wherever they are. I will take this opportunity to wish them every best and all success in the days to come. As I said that I am not a politician, we should guard ourselves from the divisive forces which are working against us. We shall be careful. We shall be liaising with the leadership of other like-minded parties and make our own way into the political spectrum of India and fulfill the mission and philosophy of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. I want to share something one with you for your support, for your understanding on the subject. 1. Friends, some years before, in 2015, when Government of India decided to celebrate 125th birth anniversary of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, officially, I wrote to the Government of India through the Minister for External Affairs, then Sushma Swaraj, that it was a good decision, and in the run up to the celebrations, April 14, the birth anniversary of Baba Saheb Ambedkar may be declared as International Day of Equality through the UN. This proposal was received in the Ministry of External Affairs, duly acknowledged by the UN division of the ministry. This development gave me a little encouragement. That we approached the Prime Minister of India through the Forum for Scheduled Caste MPs and MLAs under the chairmanship of Speaker Charanjit Singh Atwal. The proposal was duly accepted and recognized by that forum of the parliamentarians. They represented a memorandum to the Prime Minister in November 2015, in which it was said that the International Day of Equality on the birthday of Ambedkar, April 14, should be accepted by the Government of India and a démarche should be made to the UN officially. I followed up the matter with other authorities, international bodies, UN, and tried to gather some political support from here and there. Ultimately, with these efforts, for the first time in April 2016, for the first time the birthday of Baba Saheb Ambedkar was celebrated at the UN in New York, officially, in which Speaker Charanjit Singh Atwal represented India as an official delegation. He also raised the subject in his speech and solicited the support of the international community. Later, on his return to India, he submitted his report to the Prime Minister of India in May 2016, where he recommended that the Government of India should decide and officially take up this matter with the UN. And the rest is history. I tried my best in one way or the other in my humble way to carry this project, proposal of International Day of Equality to all corners of the world. But still, I must share with you that the proposal is resting with the Ministry of External Affairs ever since. Now, of late, on 6th April 2020, a new development happened. A city called the city of Burnaby in Canada proclaimed that April 14, birthday of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, will be celebrated in that city as Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Equality Day. From that day, I again decided to revisit the subject, revive the campaign to get this proposal accepted, and on April 14, this month, last month, on the birthday, I issued a roadmap to follow this proposal. That roadmap in a fully done document has been sent to Jeevan Malla ji with the request to kindly share with the members of your party and the intelligentsia in and around Tamil Nadu and other states and wherever your reach is. I have sent some other documentation in this regard and requested his support and understanding to carry forward this proposal of International Day of Equality. You will all know that it's not a new thing. Government of India declared October 2nd, the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, as International Day of Non-Violence in 2008, 2007 in the Congress government. Then Prime Minister Narendra Modi declared International Yoga Day, and I suggested this International Day of Equality on the birth anniversary of Baba Saheb Ambedkar as Day of Equality, keeping in line with the soft diplomacy of India. India is a large country of 130 million people. Our constitution and our constitutional ethos emanated from Lord Buddha. Equality, liberty, justice, fraternity is the soul of the Indian philosophy and Indian constitution. Baba Saheb Ambedkar was the chief architect of the Indian constitution. He was one of the greatest sons of India, who gave not only the document by which the government of India is run, by which the polity of India is run, but he did so many things for the society, and now India is India only because of that. Just to honor that great son of India, I suggested that his birthday should be celebrated as the International Day of Equality. The world order, the UN also stands for equality. Its slogan is equitable and just world order. The millennium goals of the UN are equality and empowerment. And that is the suggestion which we have made. It will not only honor the greatest son of India, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, but also fulfill the agenda of the UN, the millennium goals of the UN, and as such, India will also gain its stature in diplomacy, in soft diplomacy, by promoting the core values of the Indian philosophy, by supporting and propagating the core values of the Indian system. That's why, my dear friends, I will only be happy if you could kindly consider, discuss and support this proposal. All the documentation, all the relevant information is available on the face line of my Facebook and my blog, Diplomatic Titbits. Again I repeat, Diplomatic Titbits. If you simply on Google go and type Diplomatic Titbits and search, my blog will appear and all this documentation is available. In any case, if you require any further information, if you require any further discussion, if you require any further advice in this regard, I will only be happy to interact with you. I will only be happy to sit with you. I will only be happy to listen from you so that we carry forward this proposal of International Day of Equality to honor our icon, the greatest son of India, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. It will not only be a tribute to Babasaheb Ambedkar, it will be a tribute to Manavar Kanshiram, it will be a tribute to Ramaswamy Naikar, our other icons in the struggle for a due space with dignity. With dignity and respect was the catchword of Pariyar. Political power with dignity and respect was the catchword of Babu Kanshiram. Political power with morality, sense of participation, sense of ownership was the catchword with Dr. Ambedkar. Please bear with me and support this proposal. My coordinates, my telephone number, my email are available with Mr. Jeevan Malla of Bahujan Dravid Party. I again take this opportunity to wish your seminar all success, and I wish all the best to you in the years to come. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to say hi to you all. I express at the outset my deepest gratitude for having been invited to this special event. I consider this event special and significant, especially considering the time period during which this event is being conducted. I take this opportunity to appreciate the organizing team that has worked so hard to make this kind of an event. Globally important is this day, the 1st of May, and on this globally important occasion, I'd like to recall an oft-quoted stanza from a very famous poet. To this haven, my father, let my country awake. To which haven is my country supposed to primarily be awake? That's the question in front of us. Ladies and gentlemen, my country should be awake to the fact that the Bahujans are in a crisis, have been in a crisis. And this crisis, unlike the corona pandemic, is not a 6-month or 7-month-old crisis. It is an age-old crisis which has followed us all these years, giving us sometimes appearances of hopes that problems would solve, only to come back with failures. Ladies and gentlemen, why is this so? What is wrong? Why hasn't the socio-political liberation fight of the Bahujans ever achieved its objectives? Why? Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine a man sipping a cup of coffee with literally nothing inside the cup. Now the question I'm asking you is, when do you think this man is going to finish up his coffee? Right, he is never going to finish up the coffee for obvious reasons. The same has to be applied, the same can be applied to the status of all the fights our people have been fighting so far. They don't participate in the fight. All they do is pretend to keep fighting. How do you expect any result at all? So the fight is the key. The question is, are you actually fighting? The question is, do you have the resolve to fight? The question is, are you willing to cast away the differences amongst you? The question is, are you willing to give all that you have in the fight? The question is, are you having the patience and the persistence required throughout the revolution? Because the kind of awakening that is expected of you is not a kind of awakening that would last for a day or two, something that would last for a month or two, nor is it something that would last for a year or two. A fight such as this is going to require a lifetime's participation. Are you willing to do that? Because that's the amount of time realistically required for any big revolution to happen. We've learnt our lessons from all the great revolutions of the world. The French Revolution, the Black Civil Rights movements, the Russian Revolution. We can go on. No revolution tasted the fruits of success overnight. So don't dream of success overnight, because that simply isn't how this works. Ladies and gentlemen, time requires us to alter certain approaches to our accommodative and adaptive practices. Our intervention on a large scale is required on the digital platform. For instance, if you type social structure of India on any of the online platforms, you will have a number of pictures showing the Varna pyramid system which has as its base the hierarchy as the only criteria for social stratification. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time we made available hundreds of thousands of pictures of pie charts and bar graphs showing population size as a viable criteria for social stratification in India. This is just a small act, but this small act would go a long way in creating a symbolic significance that could matter to the younger generations and to the posterity. We all need to think on these lines. We need more discussions on these lines. And what's more important is, we should not stop there. We should put all our words to act. Finally, I'd like to remind you all once again that despite all the struggles that we face and that we've been facing throughout, there's one thing that is clear. History is in the making. History is in the making. Whether you believe it or not, I repeat, history is in the making. The question is whether you are in. Thank you.
सर्वप्रथम बहुजन समाज में जन्मे सभी महापुरुषों को मेरा सत सत नमन। और इस प्रथम अंतर्राष्ट्रीय ऑनलाइन शिखर सम्मेलन में भाग ले रहे सभी वक्ताओं को मेरा जय भीम, और साथ ही इस कार्यक्रम को सुन रहे सभी श्रोताओं को मेरा बहुत बहुत साधुवाद। नमो बुद्धाय। साथियों, आज जैसा कि आप सबको पता है कि हम एक बेहद महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दे पर विचार विमर्श करने के लिए इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में उपस्थित हुए हैं। चूँकि मैं कांसीराम सेना का राष्ट्रीय कमांडर एक युवा संगठन का नेतृत्व करता हूँ, इसलिए विशेषकर बहुजन युवाओं को मैं चाहूँगा कि वो पिछले 100 साल के राजनैतिक, सामाजिक, धार्मिक इतिहास का बारीकी से अध्ययन करें, मनन करें और ये जानने की कोशिश करें कि क्यों जो आज हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, रिवाइड एंड सस्टेन की बात कर रहे हैं, तो जब हम इतिहास जानेंगे अपने राजनैतिक आंदोलन का, सामाजिक आंदोलन का, धार्मिक आंदोलन का, तो हमें पता चलेगा कि क्यों, वो क्या वजह हैं जिन वजहों से बार बार हमारा जो मूवमेंट है, आंदोलन है, वो ग्रोथ करता है और फिर डाउन आ जाता है, फिर हम उसको पुनर्जीवित करने की बात करते हैं। इसलिए अब जब हम एक बार फिर से उस प्रक्रिया को करने जा रहे हैं, तो हमें ये पता होना चाहिए कि हमारी पिछली पीढ़ियों ने ऐसी क्या गलती की है जिसकी वजह से आज हमें वही काम को फिर से इस्टेब्लिश करने की जरूरत पड़ रही है। साथियों, इस देश में राजनीतिक दृष्टि से 20वीं सदी का शुरुआती दशक, विशेषकर 1920 का दशक बेहद महत्वपूर्ण है। इस दशक में जहां एक तरफ बाबा साहेब डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर अपने आंदोलन की शुरुआत कर रहे थे। 1924 में उन्होंने सार्वजनिक रूप से बहिष्कृत हितकारिणी सभा से अपने काम की शुरुआत की। हालांकि इससे पहले भी 1915 के आसपास से ही वो एक्टिव हो गए थे, लेकिन अपने कुछ निजी काम की वजह से, पढ़ाई लिखाई की वजह से वो पूरा टाइम नहीं दे पा रहे थे। लेकिन 1924 से उन्होंने अपना पूरा ध्यान सामाजिक काम में लगा दिया। ये महाराष्ट्र की बात है। वहीं दूसरी तरफ मद्रास में, आज का तमिलनाडु, पेरियार साहब 1924 में कांग्रेस छोड़ के जस्टिस पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता बने, सक्रिय नेता बने, और उन्होंने इसी दशक में सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट मूवमेंट पूरे तमिलनाडु में चलाई। वहीं इधर उत्तर भारत में पंजाब को ले ले, पंजाब में माननीय बाबू मंगूराम मंगोवालिया 1924 में अमेरिका से आते हैं और यहाँ आदि धर्म मूवमेंट की स्थापना करके लोगों को सामाजिक, राजनैतिक, धार्मिक दृष्टि से जागरूक करने का काम शुरू करते हैं। वहीं उत्तर प्रदेश में मूवमेंट की बागडोर स्वामी अछूतानंद संभालते हैं। 1920 का दशक उनके मूवमेंट का, उनका जो आदि हिंदू मूवमेंट है उसको इस्टेब्लिश करने, उस मूवमेंट को लेके पूरे प्रदेश में जा के लोगों को जागरूक करने के उद्देश्य से स्वामी अछूतानंद का आंदोलन बेहद महत्वपूर्ण है उत्तर प्रदेश में। ये तो रही एक विचारधारा की बात, बहुजन विचारधारा की बात। इसी दशक में एक दूसरी विचारधारा, जिसे हम ब्राह्मणवादी विचारधारा के नाम से जानते हैं, उसके पैरोकार एक संगठन बनाते हैं। जी हाँ, 1925 में महाराष्ट्र के अंदर ही RSS नामक ब्राह्मणवादी संगठन का निर्माण होता है और वहाँ से शुरू होती है दो विचारधाराओं की राजनैतिक उठापटक। एक तरफ बहुजन विचारधारा, जिसमें हमारे महापुरुष सदियों से हमारे खोए हुए अधिकार को, हमारे समाज को वापस दिलाने का संघर्ष करते हैं। वहीं दूसरी तरफ ब्राह्मणवाद को फिर से स्थायित्व प्रदान करने, उसे नए ढंग में, नए रूप में पेश करने के लिए RSS का निर्माण होता है। इसके बाद की कहानी आपको लगभग सबको पता ही होगी। 1927 में बाबा साहब डॉक्टर आम्बेडकर ने महाड़ का आंदोलन किया 14 तालाब के पानी को लेके। 1930 से 31-32 तक राउंड टेबल कॉन्फ्रेंस में जो घटनाएं घटी, इसके बाद 1935 का एक्ट बना, भारत सरकार अधिनियम 1935, उसमें हमको हमारे समाज को कुछ सुविधाएं रिलीज की गई और उसी एक्ट के तहत इस देश में पहली बार प्रांतीय विधानसभाओं के चुनाव होते हैं 1937 में। ठीक उससे पहले 1936 में बाबा साहब डॉक्टर आम्बेडकर बहुजनों को, विशेषकर दलित समाज को राजनैतिक पावर का एहसास कराने के लिए इंडिपेंडेंट लेबर पार्टी का निर्माण करते हैं। उसी से बॉम्बे प्रांत में चुनाव लड़ा जाता है और 15 रिजर्व सीटों में से 13 रिजर्व सीट इंडिपेंडेंट लेबर पार्टी जीतती है। उसके बाद 1942 में उस पार्टी को राष्ट्रीय विस्तार देने के उद्देश्य से बाबा साहब ने ऑल इंडिया शेड्यूल कास्ट फेडरेशन का गठन किया और उसके बाद 1947 में देश स्वतंत्र होता है और इस संविधान को निर्माण करने में, जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं, बाबा साहब की भूमिका सराहनीय थी। उसी की वजह से हमें तमाम तरह के सामाजिक, राजनीतिक, धार्मिक अधिकार मिले। शैक्षणिक अधिकार मिले। इसके बाद बाबा साहब की सोच थी कि अब हमें समाज को राष्ट्रीय स्तर पे राजनैतिक रूप से जागरूक करना चाहिए। उसी उद्देश्य के लिए उन्होंने आरपीआई का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन लिखा था। शेड्यूल कास्ट फेडरेशन की जगह उन्होंने आरपीआई की सोच डेवलप की थी कि आरपीआई नामक राजनीतिक पार्टी का गठन करेंगे, लेकिन दुखद बात की यह ऐसा कर पाते, उससे पहले ही उनका परिनिर्वाण हो गया। और बाद में जो कहानी घटी, घटना घटी, मान्यवर बाबा साहब डॉक्टर अंबेडकर के जो अनुयायी थे, साथी सहयोगी थे, उन्होंने क्या किया, आरपीआई को 10 सालों में ही कांग्रेस के चरणों में ले जाके समर्पित कर दिया। जब अनुभवी कार्यकर्ताओं ने इस तरह करना शुरू किया और एक तरफ समाज में अन्याय अत्याचार बढ़ता जा रहा था, तो महाराष्ट्र के कुछ युवाओं ने वहाँ पे दलित पैंथर नामक 1972 में दलित पैंथर नामक सामाजिक संगठन का निर्माण किया। और चूंकि वो 20 से 30 साल के युवा ही थे, कॉलेज के छात्र थे, इसलिए ये आंदोलन एक उग्र आंदोलन की तरह महाराष्ट्र की पृष्ठभूमि में सामने आया। इस मूवमेंट के लोग जरूरी मुद्दों पे तो ठीक ही है, गैर जरूरी मुद्दों पे जिनमें हमारा दखल नहीं होना चाहिए, कई बार ऐसे मुद्दों पे भी दखल दिया और नतीजा ये हुआ कि कॉलेज में पढ़ रहे युवाओं को बार बार जेल जाना पड़ा है, समाज से कट गए, समाज का सहयोग बंद हो गया और नतीजा ये हुआ कि वो नकारात्मक सोच के शिकार हो गए, डिप्रेशन के शिकार हो गए और तमाम तरह के व्यसनों में फंस के अपने आप को बर्बाद कर लिया। और 4 साल के अंदर दलित पैंथर का भी पतन हो गया। इसके बाद 1978 में रामदास अठावले जैसे लोगों ने उसको फिर से रिवाइव किया, फिर से पुनर्जीवित किया दलित पैंथर आंदोलन को। और जिस सोच के तहत इसको इस्टेब्लिश किया गया था, देखते ही देखते वो सोच भी बदल गई और आज नतीजा देख रहे हैं कि रामदास अठावले जैसे लोग जिसकी सरकार है उसी के लिए मूवमेंट करते हैं, उसी के लिए इनका आंदोलन होता है। ये तो रही महाराष्ट्र की कहानी साथियों। उधर मद्रास में जब पेरियार का सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट आंदोलन चल रहा था, पूरे तमिलनाडु में उन्होंने एक माहौल बनाया ब्राह्मणवाद के खिलाफ और 1944 में उन्होंने द्रविड़ कजगम पार्टी का निर्माण किया। लेकिन 4-5 सालों में ही कुछ आपसी मतभेद के कारण इस पार्टी का विघटन हो गया और 1949 में डीएमके नाम की एक नई पार्टी ने जन्म लिया। बाद में 1972 में डीएमके का भी विघटन हुआ और एआईएडीएमके का निर्माण हुआ, जिसमें आप सभी जानते हैं कि तमिलनाडु में 1% ब्राह्मण, ओनली 1% ब्राह्मण, और पेरियार की विचारधारा को फॉलो करने वाले डीएमके, एआईडीएमके, बाद में उसी एआईडीएमके से आजीवन एक ब्राह्मणी ने मुख्यमंत्री पद संभाला और हमारे लोगों को शासित किया। अब हम आते हैं इधर उत्तर प्रदेश में। जब यहाँ मूवमेंट चौपट हो चुका था, तब मान्यवर कांसीराम साहब की एंट्री हुई। उन्होंने 70 के दशक में काम शुरू किया। अनौपचारिक तौर से उन्होंने कर्मचारियों को संगठित करना शुरू किया और 1978 के अंदर उन्होंने कर्मचारियों को औपचारिक रूप से संगठित करने के लिए बामसेफ नामक संगठन की स्थापना की। ये जो बामसेफ है ये पे बैक टू सोसाइटी के सिद्धांत के आधार पर खड़ा किया गया, लेकिन 1981 तक आते आते बामसेफ ने, जिस बामसेफ को कांसीराम ने खड़ा किया था, उसी बामसेफ ने कांसीराम को ही साइड कर दिया। बाद में कांसीराम ने 1981 में DS4 नामक सामाजिक संगठन का निर्माण किया। उसी को विस्तार देके 84 में उन्होंने बहुजन समाज पार्टी बनाई और 84 के बाद 2000 तक मान्यवर कांसीराम साहब ने इस देश के दलित पिछड़ों को, इस देश के बहुजन समाज को इतिहास में पहली बार राजनैतिक तौर पे कॉन्फिडेंट करने का काम किया। लोगों को लगने लगा था कि हम भी राजनीति में अपनी हिस्सेदारी कर सकते हैं, हम भी इस देश की राजनीति चला सकते हैं, हम भी इस देश के शासक जमात बन सकते हैं। लेकिन 2003 में उनके बीमार पड़ने और 2006 में उनकी डेथ के बाद एक बार फिर से वही कहानी दोहरानी शुरू हुई। मान्यवर कांसीराम के तथाकथित सहयोगी, एकमात्र उत्तराधिकारी, मिशनरी, जो भी कह लीजिए, इन लोगों ने, वैसे तो एक व्यक्ति को हम जिम्मेदार ठहरा देते हैं, लेकिन सवाल यह है कि उस एक व्यक्ति की इतनी हिम्मत बढ़ी कैसे। कहीं ना कहीं इस पार्टी के जो जवाबदार लोग थे उनकी भी नालायकी थी। इसी वजह से एक व्यक्ति पार्टी के अंदर निरंकुश हो गया और उसने जो पिछले 10-15 सालों में समाज के साथ जो तांडव किया है वो आपके सामने है। आज बहुजन समाज बिखरा हुआ है पूरे देश में। जो पहल मान्यवर कांसीराम साहब ने की थी, जो कॉन्फिडेंस मान्यवर कांसीराम साहब ने समाज में पैदा किया था, आज न वो कॉन्फिडेंस बचा है, न समाज में वो संगठन बचा है। इसीलिए हम कह रहे हैं कि ये आंदोलन मर चुका है और इस मर चुके आंदोलन को ही पुनर्जीवित करना है। और पुनर्जीवित तो हो जाएगा, इतिहास गवाह है कि कई बार पुनर्जीवन हुआ है, आंदोलन कोलैप्स हुए हैं, फिर ऊपर आए हैं। हमारे ख्याल से जो सबसे बड़ा सवाल है वो ये है कि इसको पुनर्जीवित करने के बाद इसको इस्टेब्लिश, इसको स्थायित्व कैसे प्रदान किया जाए। सबसे महत्वपूर्ण सवाल ये है। साथियों, इसी कड़ी में एक चीज और कहना चाहता हूं कि जो मान्यवर कांसीराम साहब के टाइम के लोग थे, उन्होंने इतना मेहनत किया, इतनी त्याग तपस्या बलिदान के साथ उन्होंने बहुजन समाज पार्टी को खड़ी किया। और जब वो पार्टी RPI के ढर्रे पे ही चल दी, आज विघटन की कगार पे है, तो आज फिर से कुछ युवाओं ने उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर फिर से कुछ नए आंदोलन, कुछ आर्मी वगैरह शुरू कर दी है, जिसका बहुत कुछ काम दलित पैंथर से मिलता जुलता। 1972 में स्टेब्लिश महाराष्ट्र के अंदर स्थापित की गई दलित पैंथर मूवमेंट से आज की जो भीम आर्मी है उसका काम हूबहू मिलता जुलता। हालांकि वो बात करते हैं, कहते हैं हम कांसीराम के मूवमेंट को चला रहे हैं, अच्छी बात है, मैं उनकी ईमानदारी पे कोई क्वेश्चन मार्क नहीं लगा रहा। लड़के ईमानदार हैं, लेकिन अनुभव की कमी है, इस वजह से वो शायद जाने अनजाने वही गलती दोहरा रहे हैं जो गलती दलित पैंथर ने की थी। और साथियों, जैसा कि आपको पता है कि हम जिस रास्ते पे चलते हैं और उस रास्ते में जिन्होंने पहले चला हुआ है उनके अंजाम से हम अपने अंजाम का अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं। तो आज युवाओं को ये समझने की ज़रूरत है कि हमें इस देश की शासक जमात बनने के लिए अब मानसिक तौर पे परिपक्व होना पड़ेगा, मानसिक तौर पे समझदार बनना पड़ेगा, सामाजिक तौर पे संगठित होना पड़ेगा, राजनैतिक तौर पे जागरूक होना पड़ेगा, राजनैतिक तौर पे एक होना पड़ेगा। और जो धार्मिक चीज़ों में हम बटे हुए हैं, आज मैं देख रहा हूँ विशेषकर दलितों में, महाराष्ट्र की तरफ के जो दलित हैं, कुछ उत्तर प्रदेश के, वो बुद्ध धर्म को फॉलो करते हैं। कुछ तमिलनाडु, उत्तर प्रदेश, पंजाब, हरियाणा और मध्य प्रदेश के आसपास के जो दलित हैं वो आजकल रविदास के धर्म को, कुछ कबीर के धर्म को, पंजाब के अंदर सिख के धर्म को फॉलो करते हैं। तो हम धर्मों में भी बटे हुए हैं। इसलिए मेरी अपील है कि आप जब धर्म की बात हो तो आप धर्म का गहन अध्ययन करें, और जब आप गहन अध्ययन करेंगे तो पाएंगे कि कबीर, रविदास, बुद्ध, नानक, गुरु घासीदास, इन सब धार्मिक महापुरुषों का आंदोलन कोई अलग नहीं है। हम ऐसा मान सकते हैं कि बुद्ध हमारे गुरु हैं, पहले गुरु हैं। उन्हीं की धारा को, उन्हीं की मानवतावादी सोच को इस देश में सिद्धों, नाथों और संत परंपरा में कबीर, रविदास, गुरु नानक आदि लोगों ने उसी मानवतावादी विचारधारा को आगे बढ़ाने का अपने अपने समय में प्रयास किया है। इसलिए जब हम डीपली अध्ययन करेंगे तो पाएंगे कि इन महापुरुषों का जो धार्मिक आंदोलन है, जो मानवतावादी बातें हैं, वो कोई अलग नहीं है। बस इनके टाइम पीरियड में अंतर है कि ये अलग अलग टाइम में पैदा हुए। कहीं इन्होंने मूल बात एक ही है, मानवता का हित, बहुजन का हित, बहुजन का सुख। तो इसलिए हमें धार्मिक तौर पे ठीक है, हम अम्बेडकर बुद्ध को माने, रविदास को माने, कबीर को माने, लेकिन धार्मिक तौर पे हम एक पंथ, एक जगह रह सकते हैं। और इसका उदाहरण आप देख लो, हिंदू धर्म है जिसको आज हम हिंदू धर्म के नाम से जानते हैं। ये 3 पंथों का सम्मिश्रण है, शैव पंथ, वैष्णव पंथ और एक शाक्त पंथ। ये 3 पंथ हैं। इन 3 पंथों का सम्मिश्रण हिंदू धर्म है। जब ब्राह्मणवाद 3 अलग अलग पंथों में बट के भी, अलग अलग परंपराओं को मान के भी एक खोल में बन सकता है अपने स्वार्थ सिद्धि के लिए, तो हम बहुजनों को भी ये सोचना चाहिए कि हम सामाजिक, धार्मिक तौर पे एक साथ रहें, और राजनैतिक तौर पे हमें बेहद जागरूक होकर राजनीति करने की ज़रूरत है। साथियों, यही कुछ बातें हैं। चूँकि टाइम बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है और भी बहुत सारे लोग हैं, हमारे विशेष वक्ता हैं जिन्हें अपनी बातें रखनी है, अपने बहुमूल्य वचन रखने हैं। इसलिए अब मैं अपनी बातों को ज़्यादा विस्तार न देते हुए अपनी बात यहीं समाप्त करता हूँ, और इस आशा और उम्मीद के साथ कि जो बहुजन युवा पीढ़ी है वो इन चीज़ों को समझेगी और इन चीज़ों को साकार करने की दिशा में एक सफल प्रयास करने का प्रयास करेगी। इसी के साथ मैं अपनी बात समाप्त करते हुए जय भीम, जय भारत, जय कांसी राम, जय पेरियार। धन्यवाद।
Thank you everybody. Today we join the global meeting on the socio-political revolution in India. I am congratulate the media person and the organizer who arranged this meeting today. And today is a special day, that is May Day. And it is the day for the people who are persecuted thousands years in the world history, that is labor class, and they made revolution in different countries. So now we are in Indian, as an Indian people, we first time got liberation from British people in 1947, but we are not completely got independence due to the Brahminical rule here in India. And Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he wrote Constitution of India and preserve our right of 85% people of India, SC, ST, OBC and minorities, and he preserved the right in different articles in the Constitution. And all these articles also tie up with a very strong system, that is democratic system. This democratic system also safe from the fanatism, religious fanatism like Mullasm and Puritanism, Brahminism, by the secular setup. So in India, the downtrodden people, 85% downtrodden people, they preserve their right by constitution, by democracy and by secularism. And secularism safe by the secularism safe from the fanatism, Brahminism and Mullaism, by the freedom of speech, which is included in Constitution Article number 19, we knows everybody. So today I am discussing about the socio-political movement in India. I am from Calcutta, and we are having experience of 25 years around the nation and in each and every state, from northeast to North India and from also in South India, and also in MP, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh also. So during last 5 years, 6 years after BJP came in power, the Brahminical rule is exposed one after another, and they step by step they implementing the Manushriti, and they finishing the democratic article like freedom of speech, like freedom of media, and the freedom of opinion. And these all freedom, and they're snatching the right of SC, ST, OBC, and they're snatching the rights of Mool Nivasi people to finish the reservation. And last of all, now they try to, after all, they try to finish our democratic right using EVM machine. And this EVM machine now is the only power point by which the Monuvadi people, the Brahminical people, they controlling their whole power, and they denying the all human rights with this EVM machine. So the socio-political movement is based on, I think especially myself think that we have to concentrate the full effort on EVM machine, to ban EVM machine and back ballot paper. And by this way, we can achieve our target. Now, this political target, how we achieve? This is simply we have to organize our Mool Nivasi people who are the victims of national Godi media, were the victims of national fake religious leader from both community, Hindu community and Muslim community. Though the Hindu community and Muslim community, the political religious leader are diverting with the blackmailing our emotion. So to prevent this way, we have to first educate our people. First educate our people, and the education should be not which is the subjects which is given by our Brahminical fellows, the superstitious fellows. They have the superstition. So if a person have the superstitious fellow never win, never revolt, never understand anything. In that way, we have to educate our people, our kids, our children on the science base. Science can already have to. We have to first educate our people. First educate our people, and the education should be not which is the subjects which is given by our Brahminical fellows, the superstitious fellows. They have the superstition. So if a person have the superstitious fellow never win, never revolt, never understand anything. In that way, we have to educate our people, our kids, our children on the science base. Science can already prevent this superstition, and we can discuss this thing. I greatly admire of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Periyar, and the as a political leader, I am great admirer of Kanshi Ramji. He has a very good approach to the people, and his speech is so much heart-touching to the our illiterate people also. Any type of people, they can understand the political message of Kanshi Ramji. So I congratulate especially Jeevan Kumar Malla Sahab. He make a very good amalgamation with Periyar and Kanshi Ramji combination. I especially congratulate him. I appeal to my all co-fighter in different part of India, from Northeast India to North India, especially in Delhi, Punjab, and Haryana also, and in South India, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. There are so many friends in Mumbai, in Maharashtra also, and I have also some friend in MP and in Odisha also. And so we have to organize, though we belongs from a different organization. So myself, Kaji Kamrujaman, I am the General Secretary of a political party, Indian Unity Center, which is registered under Election Commission of India in 2011. So like Jeevan Kumar Malla, he is also president of Bahujan Dravidian Party, and there are so many leaders here with me today in conference, and there are so many strong activists around the world also. So these people can make a platform like one platform. Though we are working from different part of India, though we are working in different part of earth. Today, I think so many people, so many dignitaries are joined from USA and from different countries. So we can think ourselves as a one platform. Like myself had our organization, you also have an organization. So our target is one. That is, we have to emancipate our people from this Brahminical fold. They're torturing us thousands years back. And after independence, we have the more worst condition that what we were under British rule. So we have to organize ourselves and make a socio-political revolution. Socio-political revolution is very much essential. Only political revolution is not sufficient for us. That is a very extraordinary example for us. Mayawati in UP, Akhilesh Yadav in UP, and Lalu Prasad Yadav in Bihar, and also in Karunanidhi in Tamil Nadu. They have ideology, but they win by hook and crook, like a Brahminical way. So their power is not favor to our Brahminical, to our Mul Nivasi people. So we need a socio-political revolution that in that way we can only achieve our success, and that result reach to our downtrodden people who have no education and knowledge also. We have to pick up our people from this garbage of Brahminical order, Brahminical fold. We have to pick up from them, and this political movement is very essential to, after this new world order. I actually told what now I am spending the time in the age of old old world order, and I am in the age. And after 3rd May, the as per report come from different angle, the lockdown condition will be finished, and our earth will open another window for the new world order. So we have to prepare from the different part of world and different area of India. We have to prepare for that position. And I appeal to my all co-fighter in that way, that we have to keep in mind why our previous organization, previous party and previous CM are not able to emancipate our people. Why the Brahminical fold, Brahminical political party, Brahminical political system are doing things, the same thing doing by our by our leaders like Mayawati and in different part of Mul Nivasi leaders. I have one message to our Mul Nivasi people, that until and unless you educate yourself with a science-based education, you cannot snatch your right from the leaders, from the organizer, from the people who have acquired the power. Due to our reservation, political reservation for the SC/ST community, 22% reservation is got by the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And our people, more than, I think more than 100 people, MP, are in Parliament and also in Rajya Sabha, also in Assembly constituency. So these people, when they come to our community, Mul Nivasi community, SC/ST OBC Mul Nivasi community, they present as a scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and OBC on Muslims. But when they enter in the parliament, they forget their background. They being a slave of Brahminical order. And this slave, when they come to us, and other than this community, other than Mul Nivasi people, when they come to us as the Brahmin and the Kayastha and the Vaidya, these people when come to us, they come to us Congress, they come to us as a CPM, they come to us as a TMC, AIDMK. In the different party banner, they come to us and they simply win. And when they enter in the parliament, they being as Hindu. Then they are simply supporting the issues raised by the BJP or Congress. So now, if you see from the 2014 to 2019, the each and every issue is very unanimously passed in the parliament and in Rajya Sabha. So I cannot mention any particular issue, any particular bill, but all the bill is passed by this as a Hindu community. So that our people from among us, Brahminical socialist people, they pick up our intelligent one, educated person who got their education by very hard work. And this fellow entered in the Brahminical political party and he got the ticket on SC/ST reserve seat. And after win from our community, he entered in parliament as a slave, simply slave of Brahmin. And thus Congress, CPM, Forward Bloc, other than BJP party, they come to us and they speak our people, Mul Nivasi people, Bahujan people, that we are the secular party. We are against BJP. We are not like that. So please voted us. So once we voted them, then they win and they enter. When they enter in parliament, they have no brand, no Congress, no CPM, no Trinamool and no other party also. They enter as a simply Hindu. And they discuss the bill according their need to finish the rights of SC/ST OBC. And during the 2014 to 2019, the president passed the bill totally against of Mool Nivasi people, against their fundamental rights, against their speech. So in that way, our only political revolution has no effort at all. We need a socio-political revolution in our own activity, in our own party banner, so that we can win. We can do something for our people. And last of all, I especially thank for the media person and the organizer. And I also not introduce my co-fighter, though I heard their name from Jivan Kumar Malla Sahab, and I congratulate them to join with us. And I hope I will meet everyone after lockdown position, and we will continue our movement with shoulder to shoulder to finish this barbaric system. And we have to by any way we have to prevent our constitution, and we have to force these people to withdraw the monism, which will which will again slave ourselves what we have thousands years back. So thank you everyone.